Natural History Planet, and today, what if the South won? So basically, Robert E. Lee wins the elections of 1960s. So basically, Robert E. Lee wins the elections of 1960s. Abraham Lincoln goes home and cries, "No, I lost the Civil War." This is Lincoln, so he telephones Ulysses S. Grant on the phone because in this timeline the telephone was already invented by the Dutch, and then he says to him, "Hey, we need to stop him." He says, "Sure," and then Ulysses Grant curbs the government. Then Robert Lee Lee goes to Virginia and says, "What's going on to Jefferson Davis?" Jefferson Davis says nothing much. Then they created the Confederate States of America, starting there, and so America was alive once more. Basically, Robert E. Lee and the founding Confederate fathers of the new Confederacy of Confederate States and Squanto defend the Indian bull, teaches them how to grow corn. Meanwhile, Ulysses S. Grant sits by his window. He says, "I hate Robert E. Lee." Also, he's drunk. So, then a man walks in. "Hello, Mr. President." "No," he says, "I'm Emperor now," says Emperor Grant. "Can I be your Prime Minister?" says this man. Ulysses says, "Sure." That man was David Duke. He's wholesome in this timeline, also declaring in his timeline that the animal don't exist, so the men in the robes are just men in robes. The Battle of Antietam, Gettysburg. Robert Lee, yes, I said robot, he's a robot. And Emperor Grant Ulysses as Grant meet the battlefield. They kiss, not gay, and then the men fight, and then they fight, and so they fight, and then the great encirclement happens. So guys, this is the great encirclement. Yeah. Meanwhile, the Yellowstone volcanoes. Do not worry, the Yellowstone volcano does not erupt on season 3 of Alternate History Planet. Stay tuned. The Confederacy wins. The Confederacy wins, and Robert Lee walks up to a wounded Ulysses S. Grant and says, "I won." You lose. And Ulysses says, "Kill me, robot." And the robot says, "No." And Grant says, "Yes, kill me." And the robot says, "No, I still love you." And then Grant pulls out the blade and stabs himself with the blade. Ulysses, "No," says the robot. "I am sorry, Robot E. Lee. I will never forget you," says Grant. Robot E. Lee cries. And then Robert E. Lee comes out with another blade and kills Robert E. Lee with the other blade, and then Robert E. Lee tries to stab Robert with the blade from earlier, and then fails, and then Robert E. Lee stands atop Robert E. Lee with the blade in his arms. "Row, row, row, row," says Robert E. Lee to the Robot E. Lee. "You are so dead," he says to him again. "Am I?" says Robot E. Lee. Can't read this shit, hold on. In conclusion, Robert E. Lee, but actually Robert E. Lee, surrenders to Ulysses S. Grant at the Potomac Courthouse in Virginia, and the Confederate dream fires. The lesson of the story is to always bring a hat and maybe an umbrella too. Thank you so much for watching, guys. That is, if you're still watching, because my last two videos didn't get a lot of views. I'm just saying, guys, what the fuck? Come on. Anyways, thank you, guys. God bless. Goodbye.